Welcome. We are your hosts, Chris and Tammy.
In this podcast, we dive into the mindset for networking strategies and skills you'll need to build a solid foundation to build a global business.
We've built a multi-million-dollar business and have mentored thousands of people around the globe in the last 25 years. Building belief around the opportunity, but it starts with the mindset. And there's really four things to face your fear that we want to talk about. See, one thing that's really important, and this is an absolute fact, and I recognize that, Tammy and I have recognized that, is when the reward is strong enough, your fears will never be great enough. In other words, if your goals, your dreams, the things that you really believe in are strong enough and high enough, it doesn't matter the fear you face. I'm telling you, you'll embrace your fear to do it. And this is why we often share, work on your dream board, work on what matters to you. And most of us, we get started, we want to make money, but we don't have that environment, or we're not aware of that environment that will keep us grounded. I think many of you have that, but to be able to cross the line, to be less shy, to overcome the fear and embrace your fear in talking about the business, what you need to do is maybe revise what your goals are and what you use as a foundation as a reasoning to build your business.
That is so true. As you're speaking it, Chris, I always think of the journey when we talk about stuff and in the beginning. And I remember at the beginning, I didn't have a big vision where this could go. And I was focused on more of what other people would think, right? Because it's a totally different profession coming from a traditional business. And then I just made a decision. I just wanted to be home with my kids. And really, that's what it was all about at the beginning. I had a huge desire. That's what kept me focused on what I needed to do on a daily basis. And I didn't think of all the things what people thought of me and all the fears that would come up, the hurdles that would come up, because I had such a true passion to make this happen. So you got to really know what it is. It might be a material thing. It may not be a material thing. So everybody has, what's inside, what drives you every single day. And when you focus on that, then you won't have time to think of the other things that are around. And all these no's are great. This is the way we see it today, obviously, but maybe not when you're new. But no's are great because you can put them on that maybe list when a promo comes up. Right? And you just gotta focus on who is interested, and you never get caught up. The thing is, don't get caught up in the other stuff of why they're saying no. You got to know why they're saying no. Like, it's okay to build a relationship, but don't get caught up in all of this stuff. But you got to do it regularly to understand what we're saying.
Now, out of the four things to face your fear, so that was number one. Number two is, failure is part of your success. And so don't be afraid to fail, folks. This is really important. And I know, especially countries like Canada and United States, we have such a kind of a high standard based on our education and based on how we're being perceived in our society. But I find that there's too much emphasis on that. Failure, don't fear it. Don't fear the failure. It's part of the process. In fact, the opportunity to fail is actually a blessing. I have learned more from my failures than my successes, because my successes, I tend to become complacent. Oh, I know what's going on. Oh, I'm good. I'm doing well. But when I fail, I want to fix this. I want to evolve. I want to learn. I don't want to repeat the same problem or the same mistake. So failure is a blessing, folks. But if you don't try, or if you don't attempt, and you don't get out that comfort zone in fear of someone making you feel uncomfortable, unfortunately, you're never going to learn. You're never going to evolve. You're never going to grow. You're going to stay exactly the same, and decades are going to pass by and nothing's going to change. So it's important that you embrace the failures, because the failures are a blessing. We learn more from the failures from our success. And so I'll turn this over to you. What are your thoughts, Tammy?
Oh, I've fallen so many times. I mean, you just get back up. And again, it's all about your vision, what you see, what you want to do, what matters to you, and you'll move forward. And you're going to fall for sure. But then your vision is so big, and in your heart, you just get this feeling inside. You're going to know when you know what it is. Some of you may have not figured this out yet, but you're going to know when you know what this is, because it'll get you emotional. And that's when you go into those deeper levels if you're not there yet.
Yeah. And number 3, very important, is the fear of staying the same has to outweigh the fear of change. There's one thing, folks, I'll come clean. My worst fear is to be exactly the same and not evolving. This is bad for business, especially if we keep evolving, and we have associates who's been with us for decades, and new associates coming in, and younger generations coming in with new ideas and new habits and new technology and all this know-how. I was actually scared of not evolving and staying the same. So that's why number 3 is you have to have the fear of staying the same has to outweigh the fear of change. Change is important. You know, as much as I really despise the pandemic years, at the end of the day, it has forced me to do things that I normally would never want to do, like at all whatsoever. But as you get into it, it becomes part of the process and it becomes normal. And that's a new normal. So the fact here is it's important to be aware of that, right? Is be conscious that if you don't evolve and you don't change, well, things are going to change around you. And if you don't evolve with the changes, you're just going to be left behind. And that is an ultimate truth. So that was number 3. So,
nobody wants to be left behind, and nobody wants to leave anybody behind. And I think that's probably the biggest reason why Chris and I continue doing what we're doing is, we don't want to leave anybody behind. We're always trying to evolve ourselves so that we can show others how to do it, because not everybody leads.
And number 4 is that, and here's the thing that's important, is that you will never lose if you always find a way to create the win. See, that's the thing is, folks, I can write a book on failure. Oh, just a minute. We did write a book on failure.
On failure.
We did write a book. But that's the thing is you never lose. Yeah. And folks, I'm telling you, if you count the amount of failures and the challenges we've been facing, I mean, most people would have quit. Sometimes people look at failures and then failures, and unfortunately keep counting on the failures. But, if you look at baseball, right, you strike 3 times out of 10 and you could be a multi-millionaire and you could be a superhero, right? And you failed 7 times. Yeah, we have this illusion that failure is a problem. No, failure is a blessing. It's a blessing for you to learn to evolve to the next level. Because folks, at the end of the day, to build belief around the opportunity, it's not just about learning the comp plan. It's more how you posture yourself in front of the information, which goes back down to your belief. And number 1 is lack of confidence makes us focus on the safe things and the small things. Let me repeat this because this is important. Lack of confidence makes us focus on the safe things and the small things, the things that are easy to sell, the things that are easy to talk about. And we tend to veer away from the things that we're not confident, which is often the opportunity, the money aspect. It's really interesting. We get more people on a call if we're going to have a product symposium or a product knowledge, which will not bring much income, but knowledge, compared to talking about the opportunity and training on how to present effectively, or how to actually convert people more, to increase your volume, to increase your paycheck, we get less people. But that's what people want. They want more income. They want more opportunity. They want more success. But the reason why they often don't show up is lack of confidence in a particular area. So think about this in the way that you build your business. What are your thoughts, Tammy?
As you're speaking, I'm just thinking about the beginning, right? I remember coming from a traditional business background, and when everybody knew that I was opening up a boutique, they were all cheering me on. And then the moment I joined network marketing and, passionate about the opportunity, once I got to understand it, everybody was like, shying away. It's crazy that the mindset is like that, around that. But you know what? Despite all of that, you guys, I want to share this with you. Despite all of those no's, we reached the top level, and we've helped others reach the top level. You know why? Because we didn't focus on this stuff. We focused on other people's goals and dreams. We focused on who was hungry enough to make a difference in other people's lives. So when your passion is strong enough around the opportunity, then people will buy into your belief and your passion and your posture. They will, until they have their own. And that's always the way it is in network marketing, because people don't have that belief at the beginning about your product, about the opportunity. But I'm telling you, when you come out there this way, in a caring way, then people will buy into you. As we always say, people will buy you first.
And that's absolutely correct. I mean, and we let the little things all the time get in the way of the big things. And it just kind of blows my mind where, and it's good for you to be aware of this, especially if you're presenting the opportunity, where some folks are going to nickel and dime the opportunity, and because they don't see the value. But in the other hand, it will turn around and buy themselves a 70, 60, 80-inch TV that costs them, I don't know, $2,500, $3,000, $1,500, whatever the model they have, without even thinking about it, right? So the point here is, you'll recognize that. And when you recognize that, when I recognize that, what I do is, I'm not going to make them feel bad for something like that. What I want them to do is, I want them to understand, do you understand that with that small investment, you don't need to come big. I recommend you take this package, but if this is too much, I recommend you start with this package, which is more conservative. And if you focus on the activities and the training and the information we'll share with you for you to build this kind of business, you can buy 100 of those TVs later on. And we're not talking 10 years from now. So it's just, I'm just using a quick example here, but it's the way to paint the picture images when you talk to people about this opportunity. And by having this conversation, I understand what their goals are, what they want to do, what they want to achieve. A lot of time they're going to reveal a lot of great information that if you took note, either mental note or you wrote down as they were sharing, which is a good thing, because then you realize that you're obviously concentrating on what they're telling you, right? And then from there, when it goes back to, well, this is now we're talking about the conversion to get started, then you can go back to those things. So when you nickel and dime the opportunity to get started, well, you go back to their goals and you make this analogy and you make them understand the big picture. And often this is how you're going to convert. Very, very important. And often it's just the nature of the beast. People will let the little things get away in the big things because they can't see themselves owning these things. They can't see themselves being in that particular position to have the success. So, the next level of your life is on the other side of this thing called fear. This is really important that you get that. And if you want to be successful in this business, folks, and you can all be, we see it all the time. So the fact here, folks, is get over the fears, because on the other side of fear, it is just a beautiful world, wonderful world. So The thing is that you need to build your confidence and do more of the things that will build your confidence. Read books to understand the philosophy of success and the philosophy of overcoming fear and all of these things, and evolve. I'm telling you, by doing these things, it's going to shift your mind. And when you talk about what you already know, when it comes to the opportunity, you are a different person with a different posture. So when someone comes in super negative, it's like just a drop of water that just slide right here. And it's nothing more than that, because you know that it's an education process and they just need to be educated. You don't need to get frustrated, or you don't need to fear what they may throw at you, but you know better because of your education, what, based on what you've read and what you've seen and what you've listened to. So it's all in the posture.
I found that I got a lot of nuggets and skill set under my belt from being an entrepreneur all my life. And you have to work. You're making your money, right? It's not like somebody's paying you. You just got to get up, and you have to have disciplines and stuff. And a lot of people don't have that discipline, because they go to the job and they're just being told what to do. And then they come into network marketing, is all of a sudden it's like a free army, right? You're independent, but you're also interdependent. So there's certain things that you need to learn and skills that you need to learn, but that will come. It will always come. If you keep moving forward, there's always something new to learn. I'm finding that more than ever, especially since the pandemic. There's so many things to learn, to apply to our type of profession. So, it's go out there and practice and do things that are going to get you out of your comfort zone, because that is what's going to build the confidence for you to have that posture to do whatever on social media, go out and do things in networking and building your business, because network marketing is about networking. You network and then you're marketing something, whether it's a product or a service. So our paycheck is built on people consuming products.
Yes, and you're absolutely correct. I mean, a topic on selling and becoming a more effective seller. Understand one thing. If you're not selling, you're not serving. And, let's think about that. If you're not selling, you are not serving. And it's the mindset. And here's how I feel when I share this opportunity. Love what you do so much that you feel bad when people do not get involved. So these are things that will occur to you as you build a belief. But I understand that the belief comes in when you start getting the results. And to get the results, you got to go through the failures. But the thing, folks, and here's the thing, failures, I want to repeat this, is part of the process. It's a blessing. Don't step back when you fail multiple times in a row, even if it's years in a row. Stay the course. You hear me say this often. I see so many people that have evolved so much, but they never stay the course. They always deviate. And every time you deviate, you have to start all over. Just think of a plane. You've used that before. Imagine the plane cannot take off if there's enough momentum to push it up in the air. So the fact here is, if you start and then deviate, stop, and you start, you can go on for 10 years. The plane will never take off, because you got to stay the course and push a little until the wind is strong enough to push the plane up and climb. And this is how the opportunity works. So the fact here is that, the love for what you do will impact your results. And also, people want to know if you understand them. That's why when people are telling you their story and they're sharing their pains and successes and desires, pay attention. Be careful to always have the agenda to make sure they understand the plan. I'm talking from experience. I've always been eager and, to show people the plan and then everything else. I see the bit. And when I was, younger and less mature, and, I didn't pay as much attention. So I had to work twice as hard, where today I don't work as hard, but I get twice the results because I get a feel for what this person desires. And in 5 minutes, I can tell if I'm wasting my time. 5 minutes, I can tell. Now, I could be wrong, but generally I can tell. We know that we're dealing in an environment of consumers. What does consumer think about? How much is it going to cost me? Is it going to work? So at the end of the day, I will spend time in explaining the product. I will spend time explaining. That's why the presentation starts with a little bit of the background, a little bit of the science. We talk about the product, because if you start with the opportunity, when the 80% of people are spenders, they're not entrepreneurs, they're spenders, you need to shift their mindset. That's the reason why we do that. So I'm not saying not to talk about the product. The product is really important. In fact, it's the reason why we're in business. What I'm saying is not having a balance where it's all about product, knowledge, and disease and stuff and this and that and whatever. It's wonderful, but at the end of the day, they need to pay for these products, and they need to justify the time to talk about this kind of business, to be interested, genuinely interested. And for that, you need the opportunity.
You know what? Often we think that people are looking for something or want certain things because that's the way we feel. Be careful with that one. Because one of the things that I like to do is, I like to ask people what's most important to them, healthy products or earning income. What do you prefer? Yeah, I prefer, my health is number one. Great. And then you can, talk a little bit about the products, but don't run from the opportunity. Just say, this opportunity has impacted so many people's lives because somebody got a health benefit.
Often I tell people that we are consumers, and we are consumers telling other consumers. But instead of always relying on the fat cats and getting the goods that we need, what if we rely on ourselves, sharing this through our network of people that we've gathered over the years? And instead of feeding the fat cats, the consumers that are the one that are consuming the product, telling other people about it, benefits. That's what we do in a nutshell. So often when I share things like that, it's interesting, but it creates a certain reflection. I can see people's body language absorbing this stuff and agreeing and actually smiling on the fact. I kind of like the fact that it's not always about the fat cats, but it's the little consumers multiplied hundreds of millions of times. That's the power of network marketing. That's what I see when I look at my business. And when I talk to a negative relative or a negative friend or a negative thing, for me, it's like, oh my God, you got to learn what this is all about. Do you know what you're looking at? Do you understand what this is? Do you see the potential? There's a shift in our economy today. That's where the money is going towards. People who build networks. Get in the front line, start now, because I'm telling you, that is the future. That's the posture I have when I speak with people. And when I present the opportunity, you often heard me incorporate what I just shared with you in different variation, sharing the exact same thing to help people see the big picture, to overcome the negativity, the stigma associated on the misconception and the uninformed understanding of what we do for a living. Okay. So everybody have yourself a wonderful evening. Thank you again, and good night. Bye, everybody.
Bye.